They came knocking on our door, and the government, we're asked for my husband. They're like, is your husband home? I'm like, no.
How long were you going through the motions for before the public found out?
When she sentenced me, looked at my lawyer, and I'm like, am I going to jail?
Tell us about the day you self-surrendered.
I don't like saying that I went to prison because I don't want it to define who I am.
Were you afraid to go into prison? Teresa Giudice went from red carpets and reality TV to a federal prison cell. Most people know her from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, but few know what she truly endured behind bars. This is the untold story of how Teresa survived prison, rebuilt her life, and came out stronger than ever. Teresa Giudice, welcome to Locked In. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, when I first started the podcast, you were on the top of the list like 3 years ago almost of people I wanted to interview.
Oh, thank you.
So it's so cool to make this happen. Sorry we had to bring you back to Danbury.
That's okay. That's okay. I know. When I saw the address, I'm like, Danbury. I'm like, that's where I was. Yeah.
Have you been back to Danbury since you left?
No, I have not.
Wow.
Yeah, I think maybe I drove by it going somewhere, and maybe in Connecticut. I'm trying to think if maybe I had an appearance. And is there a casino in Connecticut?
Yeah, Mohegan Sun and
Mohegan Sun.
Foxwoods.
Hello.
Oh, so
yes.
you did drive it.
Yes, so I have seen the sign.
Yeah, I used to live in downtown Danbury, and every time I would drive by the sign, Federal Correctional Institute. So it's so weird seeing that.
Yeah, no, I never drove by that sign, but I just drove by saying Danbury.
Yeah.
Going to the casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, now it's been over 10 years. Like, I think I went away 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think 2015, right?
So, and we're in 2025,
Yeah,
so
almost
10 years
2026. That's crazy.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, yeah.
Where did you grow up, Teresa?
I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey.
What was that like? What was your upbringing like?
It was, it was nice. It was a nice area. I would say, I don't want to say all Italians. It was like mixed, but like really, nice area. I lived in a one-family house. We lived in did you ever hear the Falls, Paterson?
No.
Okay, so the Falls in Paterson. I grew up there from when I was born till like third grade. I lived by the Falls. There's actually Paterson Falls. I lived right across the street from the Paterson Falls. Oh. So I grew up there. Then after that, my parents, and we were renting. Yeah, my parents were renting. There was a 3-family house, and we lived on the second floor. And I remember the house. Like, I remember it. Like, yeah. And I remember there was a Hispanic family on top of us that I just reconnected with them not too long ago. Yeah, and I loved them. And I found out that the daughter, they lived in my town, in Montville, where I live now. And I'm like, why didn't you ever reach out to me? Because I loved her mom. And then her mom, I found out, died from breast cancer. And then the father, I think, got remarried. And it was 3 girls. And I just reconnected with them. Isn't it so crazy?
That's so nice.
Yeah, they moved to Florida. Like, now they all moved to Florida. But yeah, but she, she has been back she has family that lives in Boonton, the next town from where I live right now. So it was nice connecting with her. So now, now we're in touch all the time.
What did your parents do for work?
All right. Then we moved to where it's near Totowa. Everyone knows like Totowa. It's a little bit better than the Falls, Paterson. It's like near Totowa, but my address still was Paterson. It was like I lived a block away from Totowa.
Okay.
And so my dad was a shoemaker. My dad used to do construction, and then he learned the trade to become a shoemaker. And I just saw that there's a shoemaker in this building.
Right next door.
Yes, and it's so crazy. My dad was the best shoemaker ever. He worked in this town in Ramsey, New Jersey, very high-end, beautiful town. And he did really well there. He was in a shopping center.
What about your mother?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She just took care of my brother and I, and home-cooked meals every day, and she was an amazing mom.
What were some values they taught you at a young age?
The values. I had a very old school. My parents were, born in Italy. I'm first generation, and I used to, on Saturdays, I would have to clean the house before, I'm just saying, I always, old school ways. Like I would clean, we had 2 floors. Like upstairs was the furniture that we didn't touch. Like, and then we lived in the basement, like the Italians do. Did you ever see that? Like the Italians live in the basement.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family's Italian.
Okay, so we had the kitchen in the basement. So my mom would do all the cooking downstairs, and then upstairs is like where all our we didn't touch upstairs. Upstairs were the bedrooms, but the kitchen that you didn't touch, family room. But we basically lived down. Then we had another family room and kitchen downstairs, and that's basically where we hung out.
Do you think you guys struggled growing up, or was it middle class?
Middle class. Yeah, we didn't struggle. I mean, very like I listened to my parents. Very old. Like I was not allowed to have sleepovers. I didn't really hang out with my friends that much. Like I was really home a lot, and I watched my mom. Like that's how I learned how to cook. Like just watching my mom, and and then on Saturdays I would clean, and then I don't really remember hanging out with friends that much. I was like more home a lot, and just always was there with my mom, and like she would make me go to my friend's house here or there, but like I was not allowed to have sleepovers. Like that was a no. If they wanted to sleep over, they had to sleep over at my house. And then when I started working at 14, because I kind of wanted to get out of the house, my first job was at Shoetown in Wayne, and my dad got me that job because anytime they had any repairs with the shoes, they would bring it to my dad. So then my dad talked to them and said, do you have a job for my daughter? And then they said yes. I used to go to work with him on Saturdays. And there was a shoe town there, and then he used to take me there. So, and I liked that because it just got me out of the house. So, and then what else? I mean that was it. And then when I turned 17, I was still working at Shoe Town, and then that's when I had a little bit more freedom because I had my own car. My parents got me a brand new car. My brother and I, we both got brand new cars, and at 17. I got want to know my first car?
Yeah.
I got a 240 SX.
What kind of car is that?
It's a Nissan.
Okay.
240 SX Nissan. It was all white with the white spoiler kit on the bottom. And my brother got a 300ZX. He got a more expensive car than me because I had a Sweet 16, like a huge Sweet 16 party at a restaurant hall. It was like a small little wedding. Like that's what Italians do. And my brother didn't have a Sweet 16 because he's a guy. Like you give Sweet 16 to girls, not really guys.
If we had your best friend from high school here today, how would they describe you back then?
Oh, my best friend. Oh, from high school. Well, this is what happened. I had a best friend, and then I'm not gonna say her name, but then I got the chicken pox freshman year. Yes, I got the chicken pox freshman year, and she didn't even check up on me, and I guess I had this fire Italian temper, like I thought that was so rude. Like I had the chicken pox. I was out of school for a week, and I don't know. And then I just never spoke to her after that because I was like, you didn't even check up on me and make sure I was okay. I don't know. I just thought like a real friend would check up on you. So then I stopped being friends with her, and freshman year after I got the chicken pox. But then after that, I ended up having a whole bunch of friends. Like I remember I hung out with like 7 or 8 girls that once I turned 17, and that's when we started going out like on the weekends, going out to dinner. Like I was like the planner. I would make like dinner plans, and we would all go out to dinner, and then we started going to clubs like Limelight. That was one of the clubs we used to go to. I think there was I always remember the Limelight. I know there was a few others that I would probably have to ask my friends, but I remember the Limelight. And that club, like, they would have to pick you to get in. So one of my friends, she used to dress, like, very out there. And, like, we would always get picked. Like, they would pick you to get into the club. That's how we would get into the club.
Would you have considered yourself popular?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did date one of the popular guys in school. Yes, I did. But unfortunately, like, I dated Hispanic guys in high school, and the Hispanic girls didn't like me because I was white, and the guys, the Hispanic guys liked me. So, I did get into fights because of that. Yeah, so that did happen in high school. But that's what made me become like tough, because girls, yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it wasn't my fault that they liked me, and then I guess, they tried to jump me one time.
Oh, we got to hear this story.
Yeah, they tried to jump me, and my friend came and saved me. Thank God. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of them that were ready to jump me at school, like in a outside, and she came and she pulled out a knife, and then she pulled out, and they all scattered, and I was like, "Thank you." So I'll never forget her. She did, like, for having my back with that.
Do you think your high school experience prepared you for your career later on in life?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, to be strong. And I guess my upbringing with my parents. Like, like there was I was not allowed to cry. Like if my father yelled at me, like there was no tears coming down. Like he never wanted to, he didn't like, seeing me and my brother cry. And yeah, I guess, just growing up with my parents, like I saw my dad, he always went to work, he wasn't a lazy guy. My mom too, like taking care of my brother and I, we always came first. Like it was, we grew up like in a very loving household.
What do you think was your favorite memory from childhood?
A favorite memory? Just like my mom, like her home cooked meals, and like they always put my brother and I first. Like it was always about us. Like, just always protecting us. And like we were all very close, the four of us. Like if it started raining out, like I would call my brother and be like, "Oh, drive safe," and vice versa. Like we always looked out for each other like that. We were a very loving family.
What do you think was your worst memory from your teenage years or childhood?
My worst memory? Well, you know what? I didn't like that. My cousin Kathy and Rosie, we didn't talk to them for 6 years. So I wish I grew up with cousins, and that's the one thing I didn't like. Like because I was like, that was my only family that we had in America, because our other family was in Italy and Belgium. So I was like, I wish that we would have. I wish I would have grew up with my cousins.
What were you thinking of career-wise when you were in high school?
Oh, I went to school. I went to a technical high school, Passaic County Tech, and I took up business. So, and then when I was in high school, I decided like I wanted to do fashion. Like I loved fashion. I love dressing up, and so that's when I went to school. I went to Berkeley College, which was only 10 minutes away from my house. I wasn't allowed to go away to college. No, my parents was like, I couldn't even ask that question. Like, can I go away? Yeah, that was absolutely a no-no. I wasn't even allowed to have a sleepover. Imagine going away to college. Yeah, no. So I went to college 10 minutes away from my house, and that was it. I got my bachelor's. No, wait, sorry. My associate's degree. I only went to school for 18 months, got my associate's degree, and then I started working. And that was it. I mean, my dad didn't even, like, my parents weren't even pushing college. They're like, you want to go to college? And I'm like, yeah. And I remember how much it cost my parents. It was $18,000, $9,000 for each year. And like my parents were like, oh my God, I got to pay that, because I said I wanted to go to college. And my brother too, like my brother went to college for a year and then he dropped out because he got hurt in football. He got a scholarship. Yeah, so I wanted to just go myself, and that was it. And then I got my first job. I worked in a buying office for Sizes Unlimited, 16 Plus, and the Avenue. So I was an assistant buyer there in Rochelle Park, New Jersey. And then after that, I ended up going to the buying office in Herald Square in Macy's. And then I also worked a little bit in between that. I worked at Nordstrom's, in Nordstrom's shoe department. Then after that, so sometimes, things happen. Yeah, and I was like, I'm trying to think, did I get laid off? I don't know if I got laid off in that, or no, maybe I left. I can't remember if I got laid off or I left. Anyway, then I got a job, like the right job. Sometimes in life you don't know, like why is this happening, or, you just, and then everything always falls into place, And I was like looking for like the right job, and then I landed, Macy's in Herald Square, and that was like a great job. And I was an assistant buyer. Then I got promoted to an associate buyer, and then after that, I went on the other side, and then I was a sales rep for Calvin Klein and Nine West handbags.
Guys, enter the room loaded sculpture first. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet, it's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone turned your downstairs into a national monument. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. Personal story, after one of Blue Chew's tablets, my girlfriend joked I should be in a museum, but they'd probably have to kick me out. Carrying a loaded sculpture like that isn't safe for the public. Security can't handle this exhibit. This is more than performance, it's third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. When you lay it down, they're definitely talking about how it gets up. And here's the deal, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code LOCKEDIN at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Go to bluechew.com for details and safety info. Huge thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. And were you still living at home during this whole time?
Yes. Yeah, I was not allowed to move out.
I was listening on the Nick Viall podcast that you had a curfew up until you got married.
Yes.
I moved out.
Yeah, I had a curfew, and I was not allowed to move out until I moved into my, whoever I was marrying's house, Well, I mean, Joe and I, we were going to build a house. We bought a piece of property, and then it was not going to be, that was going to take time to build the house. So we bought a piece of property, and then I ended up moving into his house. He owned a 2-family house in Paterson, which was right next. It was like, I would say 5 minutes from my house where I grew up with my parents. So I moved into his house, and then I would say a year and a half later, we moved into our house, that house that was on Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Do you feel like your upbringing was too strict?
I mean, a little bit. That's why I am very different with my kids, because I want them to experience life. Because I kind of wanted to just get married and get out of the house, and I dated someone for 6 years, and he ended up cheating on me, and then with Joe, I knew him my whole life, and I started seeing him out. And so then we started talking, and I know Joe always liked me. He did. And I always liked him too. I always had a thing for him. And and then it was just like, he was, I guess, safe for me, because I was hurt by my first boyfriend. And I was like, oh, I think he'll just be, he was safe. Like, I don't know if I was like, I don't want to say this. Like, I don't know if I was so in love with him, I didn't know what that really was. Just, you have one boyfriend, and I had one boyfriend, then it was him, So I wish I would have dated more. I think that would have been better. But listen, I got my 4 beautiful daughters out of it.
Do you give them advice to go kind of a different path, maybe college or dating or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I tell them, I support everything they do. Matter of fact, Gia's moving out next month, so I'm so proud of her. And I'm like, yeah, I'm living vicariously through you. I'm like, that's what I would want to do. That's what I wanted to do when I was your age, live on my own for a little bit before getting married and living with my husband. Because I went with living with my parents to living with my husband. And it's like, I wanted to live on my own and experience life a little bit, on my own a little bit. I think that's great to do.
And it's so cool that you guys got to do a TV show together too.
Who?
You and Gia.
Oh, yes. That was Special Forces.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Great, something that we'll never forget. And her sisters were jealous that we did that, They're like, yeah, that's not fun. That's not cool, Mom. They're like, we're probably never going to do something like that with you. And I'm like, you never know.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, you never know what the future holds.
Do you think that there's some misconception about you that you were a hard worker before becoming a reality TV star? I feel like there's a lot of that with reality TV stars in general, that they feel like that people feel like it was just handed to them, but they don't know the backstory.
Yeah, right. What do you think did you ever watch my show?
Funny enough, they actually had it on in prison. Guys in prison would watch reality TV. So they would be the Maury show. They had Real Housewives. They had cops, anything reality TV they consumed. There was a couple of I think it was some of the husbands that went to prison. One of them I think might have been at Fort Dix, not Joe, someone else. And then also when Joe was there too, people had that show on too.
Oh, it was
Atlanta, right?
Yeah, Phaedra's ex-husband.
I met him too when I was there. So they would watch that all the time. And then we remember getting Us Weekly or US Weekly, whatever that magazine is. And there was that one picture of like Joe on it where they had like a picture of him they snapped and stuff. But yeah, they would have that on the TVs all the time. So that was the only time I watched it.
So what did you think of me?
I didn't really I'm not like a judgmental person. But
okay.
I didn't like meeting you for the first time. I didn't go in with like a perceived notion of you.
No, because I would love to hear like what people think, like their perception.
I think I would compare it to like, so for instance, the Jersey Shore cast. I think growing up we thought that was just handed to them,
right?
And then there's all these interviews about how they actually had to work and they were underpaid during those first seasons. And
oh yeah, we got paid very little. And in the beginning, I put money into Housewives. Yeah, because like you have all these parties and the clothing and hair and makeup. Like, they don't pay for that. So it's, the first season, I would say the first couple seasons, like, we were putting money into it, because you don't make money till like later on.
How did Housewives come about? Were you just like working your career and then they stumbled upon you? Or?
Yeah, Housewives came about like these producers went to this salon called Chateau in Franklin Lakes. They walked into this salon and they asked the owner of the salon, they're like, can you recommend like, beautiful women with like the whole lifestyle, like the beautiful house, everything going on like that. So they recommended Dina Manzo at the time and Jacqueline Loretta. So they recommended the two of them. And then that's when Dina recommended me. They're like, you have to talk to my girlfriend. She has these 3 little girls. She dresses them like impeccable, and you have to whatever. And then that's when I talked to them. And then Jacqueline recommended another friend of hers that the husband said, well, if you want me to go to prison, then do the show. So she said no. Then she ended up recommending her sister-in-law, Caroline Manzo. And then Danielle was going to that salon. So then they said, Danielle will be good. And then that's how Danielle got on.
And this was before social media is really big.
Yes, this was way before social media. I didn't get onto Instagram, I think, till I came out, of prison.
Really?
I think.
Oh, because Instagram started, I think, 2011 or 10?
Wait, yeah, because I didn't start Instagram till like a while late. I can't remember if I started when I got out. I have to look at my last post. But I didn't start like when everybody else started. I think I was away. Yeah, 2011, that's when it started.
I think so.
I don't think I jumped on the bandwagon right away because I wasn't, I never, I know I'm on Facebook, but I had some, I have my assistant that posts on Facebook, but I never really actually was on Facebook. Like I use it for promotion stuff and stuff like that, but I really never was really active on Facebook.
Did you have a MySpace?
For myself. No, I never did MySpace either.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not a techie person. Yeah. And I started Instagram way later on than everybody else did.
Was it a different kind of fame back then without social media? Like when the show first started, do you think it was like more genuine?
Yeah, now it's just with the whole social media thing, which is great because you could promote a lot of things and all that stuff, but there's so many nasty people out there. And I guess some people get affected by that. I don't. I know how to shut that out and ignore the noise. But unfortunately, you have all those, haters that, have things to say. So that's like the part that I don't like. But it is a good thing, social media, meaning like to promote businesses and stuff like that.
When you first joined Housewives, did you ever imagine it would lead to where you are now?
Not at all. And I took the longest to sign the contract. Everyone else signed the contract right away. It took me almost a year to sign the contract.
And they waited on you that whole time?
They waited on me. Yeah, they wouldn't, I guess they knew they had a star on their hands. Yeah, I guess they did. And they wouldn't, because they could have went on without me. And they waited for me. Like the producers chased me for I would say almost a year, close to a year.
What do you think really made it get steam?
I guess the authenticity, how it started with family, and like it was really like it started with two sisters and a sister-in-law, and everybody could relate to it, and everybody liked that.
No, doesn't always, from my recollection, everyone always says like the New Jersey one is the main one. That was like the home starter one, or?
No, the original one was Orange County.
Oh, okay.
That was original. Then it was New York, then Atlanta, then New Jersey.
I only watched New Jersey.
Right. And tell you the truth, I never watched it before because I never watched it before I wanted to because I was busy. I was a mom. I was like, I'm a mom. I'm a mamacita. Yeah. So I was really a mom, like raising 3 girls. And at the time, then I had my 4th season 2. So I was really, and I was like my mom. Like I was like, I lived for my kids. Like they came first. It was the kids, then Joe, my husband at the time, and then everything else. So I drove them to their, to all their activities. I put them in everything. Like I loved gymnastics and dance. So that's what my girls started with, gymnastics and dance. And then after that, Gia's continued gymnastics and dance. And then Gabriella and Melania, they did it for, I think, a year or 2. And then they're like, now we want to do soccer. And I was like, soccer? I'm like, because I was like such a girly mom. And then I ended up becoming a soccer mom. Like, I love soccer. Like, they were so good at it. Like, Gabrielle was on a club team. They both loved it. Joe was their coach. And, so it was really cute.
When did your kids realize that you were on TV?
I guess they realized when they started going to school, maybe, and if people started saying things. I think when all the legal stuff happened. Because, when they were younger, like, they really didn't know. And then I think when all the legal stuff happened, that's when I never even asked them that question. That's a really good question to ask them. Like, you should, like, I'm going to ask them, like, when they realized, probably that, because then they were probably getting scrutinized and stuff. And, I'm sure people were saying things.
When did you first realize you were under investigation?
I didn't know I was they came knocking on our door. And the government, like, we're asked for my husband. They're like, is your husband home? I'm like, no. And I called Joe. I'm like, so they just came looking for you. And that was it. And then that's like when it all started.
Who came, the IRS or the FBI? Or?
I think, they just came knocking. Like, we never got arrested, none of that. I've never had handcuffs on my wrist.
Lucky.
Yes, I've never gotten shackled, nothing. Because, see, God is good. Because God knows I didn't do anything. So God is good. Yeah, like Joe obviously got shackled. And, I remember he used to tell me he was getting shackled. And I was just like, that's your problem. No, we can't.
They did the whole perp lineup for me, right? We grew up down the road from here. And 6 a.m., FBI, IRS, everyone.
Oh, really? No,
we
never had any of that. I have to say, like, that's saying God is good because... Like I said, I'll be honest with you. Look, I did my time. I had no choice. I had to do what I had to do. But, yeah, this is all I did. I went to a closing. Which, listen, I was naive at the time, and I should have asked more questions, but I didn't. I don't know. Back then, even a lot of women say, like, their husbands tell them to sign something, they sign it. My husband at the time, he was like, I'm going to use your credit. And I'm like, all right. He's like, he was flipping homes at the time. And my credit was over 800. I had the best credit ever. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to use your, I guess when you have too much credit out there, you can't keep doing it. So he's like, we're going to refinance this house. And I said, all right. So that's it. I went to a closing, in the lawyer's office with the mortgage guy, the lawyer. That's it. Signed papers, done. That was the only thing that's it. And then they're like, and then I got charged for mortgage fraud. I'm like, mortgage fraud? I'm like, for what? Because I signed those papers, mortgage fraud, and then tax, all the other stuff, because I guess the tax, whatever taxes he filed, that, I I don't back then. These are all questions you have to ask him because he was dealing with the banks, with the mortgages, or I guess with the tax papers saying that he made more money than, like if you say you make $1 million but you only make 500, that's fraud.
Inflating your income.
Exactly. And I think back then the banks were even doing that, so they would get the commission. So, but then you know what you heard when all that came out that the banks were getting right.
Yeah.
So everyone was doing this. Like it was like, but unfortunately, we got in trouble because they wanted to make an example out of us.
Yeah, you're on TV.
Basically, that's what it came down to. Listen, Joe did not file taxes, which I guess that's why they came knocking on the door. I mean, he filed his business, but not his personal. So stupid. And I never knew that. And I used to ask, I even said to him, is everything good with you before I go on TV? And he said, yeah. He's like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm like, all right.
Well, I mean, I think it's totally believable too, because I see it growing up. My dad did everything, all the taxes. Like if my dad passed away tomorrow, my mom wouldn't know what to do with all of that.
Oh, yeah,
that
I'm
work.
saying, I guess, well, and I didn't work, so I didn't need to file taxes, but we were married. And, so I stayed home. I never worked until Housewives. And then when Housewives came out, then I started filing my taxes, on my own. I got an accountant.
Once they came that day, that wasn't the actual, like, arrest. They didn't give you a paper.
There was no arrest. Like I said, never an arrest.
But even, like, the charge, they didn't give you papers charging you that day?
No. I think Joe went to go see them. And then after that, he's like, we have to get he got a lawyer. And then after that, then he told me, I had to get a lawyer. I was like, what? I was like, I swear I was shocked. I was like, and then I thought it was all right. I'm like, then I really thought like we were just going through the motions. And I'm like, all right, so I guess I have to just go through the motions because I'm like, they're going to see that I did nothing. They're going to know. But unfortunately, he had a partner. And I guess, his partner's the one that told them I signed papers. And nothing happened to his partner. Isn't that so screwed up?
That's how it normally works in these cases.
Yes, nothing. And his partner never filed a tax in his life. He put everything in his mom and niece's name. Yeah, and he got away with that.
You were the bigger fish. The
juicy
juicy headlines.
Because I was on TV. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, they did that recently with the Chrisleys, and you see a lot of reality TV stars like that.
Yeah, and that's why I used to not want to talk about it. But now I guess it's just part of my journey, and that's why I have no problem talking about it, and I'm not ashamed of it. Because if anyone wants to judge me, shame on them. Because you should never judge anyone unless you really walk in their shoes. So that's why now I have no problem talking about it. And now I feel like I got my answer because like for a long time I didn't have my answer. I'm like, why did I have to go through that? And I finally feel like I got my answer because. Now I turn to God. I'm like very, I'm a Catholic. I go to church every Sunday. Matter of fact, I went to church this morning before coming here. And God sometimes abruptly takes something out of your life that is no longer, in use, he abruptly takes something out of your life. And Joe was abruptly taken out of my life. He really was. I mean, like, he got deported. Like, he went to prison for 3 years and then got deported. And really 3 years and 8 months because he stayed in ICE for 8 months trying to fight it. And then he abruptly got taken out of my life. And so I guess God saw he was not for me, And then I met Louis, that, amazing guy that absolutely fell in love, like head over heels. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is what falling in love like hard really means. And then he treats my daughters like they're his own, which that is pretty amazing. Because I remember Joe used to say to me, you're never going to find a guy that's going to want you with 4 kids. And that's true. I'm like that's a lot of baggage. Not I want to say my kids are baggage, but it's a lot. Like for a guy to come into your life and take on that responsibility. I mean, and thank God I was doing well. Like I didn't need him financially, but still, it is a lot. It's just a lot. Because you never know if they're going to accept you and all that. It's, I mean, he could have found somebody else, but not with 4 daughters. But I mean, my girls are amazing.
How long were you going through the motions for before the public found out that of your legal situation, what you're going,
God,
what you're dealing with?
Joe was basically dealing with it all. Like, I was just like oblivious. Like, I really was, because I didn't know any of it. So I was like, you need to talk to him. And like, I didn't, and I didn't get along with my lawyer. Yeah, because I think they're all in cahoots. I really do. Like, here I am, paid him all this money. And, I don't think he can't sue me for this, can he?
I think you're fine. People have said way worse.
Oh, yeah. No, I just feel like it was all like, I think that they knew I was just going to go away. Like, because it was such a, I think, I had, because being in the public eye, like I had to do time. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think it's way worse when you're in the public eye. I mean, my case was very much like polarized because I was a young teenage nightclub owner. I went to trial in my federal case.
Oh, see, I wanted to go to trial, and then I heard that going to trial is not. We were going to go to trial, and then they talked us out of it because they're like, if you lose, you're going to get double the time.
And they probably would have put you jointly, so whatever he did would have fell on you.
Oh my God! Yes, yeah.
I think it would have been way worse. I think you had a good outcome.
And I remember like not telling people about it, which I wish. Well, listen, you can't go back. You can't talk about spilled milk, right? Because the thing is, sometimes there's people that are more knowledgeable about this. So if you get in trouble, guys, I just want to tell you, people out there, you get in trouble, tell people, because then there's people that could help you and give you advice, and like, oh, use this lawyer, use that, I'm just, because I was very embarrassed because I was like, what? I didn't do anything. I was like, so, and we didn't tell a lot of people. And we're like, and I really don't, I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's like, they're going to see that I didn't do anything. So, but then that's why, and then I realized afterwards, I'm like, they're making like, I didn't know what that even meant, making an example out of you. Like, I didn't even know what that meant till like after it was done to me. Because I'll never forget, like, getting sentenced in the courtroom, and the judge, she judged me. Like, talking about Jimmy Choo shoes in the courtroom as she's sentencing me, and saying that I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I was just like, wow, this woman doesn't even know me. And I thought she was going to relate to me because I thought, I think she comes from immigrant parents also. She was Hispanic. And I thought she would just totally relate to me. She's like, I'm like, she's going to see that I didn't do anything. It's like, she's going to know, she's like mom to mom. And she was a mom also. And I'm like, she's totally going to see that I didn't do anything. And when I got sentenced, and like I said, talking about Jimmy Choo shoes as I'm being sentenced, and she just judged me based on the show. And I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm like, no, I was not. Like, I was not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I never spent beyond my means. I spent, whatever, if because we had it. But I never went like overboard, and I didn't wear designer head to toe. I mean, if you watch the show, you'll see. But when she sentenced me, I looked at my lawyer, and I'm like, did she just sentence? Like, am I going to jail? Like, I didn't even understand the language, like, because I didn't, like, I guess I was just like so numb to it. And he's like, yeah. I was just like, what? I was like, and then I was so angry. So that's why I was like, went in there, never shed a tear. Like, going in, did not shed a tear at all. Like, I was just so angry. Like, I'm like, I don't belong here. But I'm like, okay, if I need to do what I have to do, I'm going to do it. And I just focused on myself, worked out every single day, ran, walked the track, did yoga every day. I cooked a few times for everyone, and they liked my food because everyone was really nice. Everyone was nice to me. Some girls would give me some looks, and I'd be like, don't even try it, because I'm that type of person. Like, I don't take shit from anybody, and especially because I was so angry. I'm like, if anybody even starts with me, it won't be good. But that never happened, you know. Like some girls would just give me dirty looks in the gym, and I'll be like, "Yeah, what are you looking at?" You know, like, and but otherwise, everyone was pretty respectful and pretty nice. They really were.
Tell us about the day the world found out you were going to prison, the amount of pressure that was on you, and how you were feeling when it broke headlines.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I felt like that. I was just like, I don't know. I was very strong because I was like, I got to be strong for my daughters. I always thought about my kids. Like that was it. I'm like, I have to be strong for my kids. And I told my kids I was going to work. Like they didn't even, because they were young. They didn't even know. I think Gia, I don't know if Gia was the only one that I think knew. Yeah, but the other ones thought I said I was going to work. And yeah, I mean, how did it feel? I mean, I don't know. I didn't like. I wasn't crying or anything. I didn't cry. I'm very, very strong, because I was just angry inside. Like I didn't. I was like I can't believe this is happening to me.
Did
Yeah.
people that you were close with kind of turn on you, friends or anything? Like, did they badmouth you on social media over that, or do you think everyone stood united?
No, I mean, like all my close friends. I mean, I'm trying to remember. Well, then I found out that my brother was going to Jacqueline's house and reporting everything that I was telling him, because Jacqueline ended up telling me, like everything that I was telling him, because I was only telling my immediate family what was going on. Not that I didn't want to tell Jacqueline, because Jacqueline at the time was my close friend. Not that I didn't want to tell her. They tell you, don't tell your legal stuff to anyone. Keep it private. So then Jacqueline told me that my brother and Melissa were running to them every time I told them something and telling them everything that I would say. And so I was just like, well, I didn't know that. I didn't find out, till a few years later, few years ago, because Jacqueline and I made up and she told me everything. So, yeah, listen, I'm sure there was people out there, all haters, like putting stuff on social media. I didn't let that get to me because I was very secure of who I am. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I'm like, there's a reason why I have to go through this. I don't know why. But I was like, really, God? Really? Even when I used to be in Danbury. Like, I have to say that watching the 4 seasons change while I was there was pretty, it never really, it gave me a new, like, sense of nature. Because I was like, I never saw that before. Like, it was just like, I liked being outside and it just, I don't know. I feel like God was giving me a break. I'm like, all right, God, I never went away to college. And I felt like that was college, but not that kind of college. Yeah. And I was like, really? Is this what you're trying to send me to college? I'm like, I'd rather just went, because I used to talk to him a lot when I was there. And so I would, like, that's what it was. I was away at college, but you can't just leave you can't leave the campus. Like, you're stuck there. And you had to just wear the same clothes every day, and get them washed or whatever. I mean, where I was, it was not bad at all. Not bad at all. I mean, like I said, I just worked, on my body, on myself. I wrote my memoir. Then when I came out, it ended up being a bestseller. It was Turning the Tables. And, yeah. So.
When did it hit you that you were going to prison? Was it like the night before? Was it weeks before? Months before?
Well, I felt like The Stepmother. You know that movie, The Stepmother?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, you need to watch that movie, The Stepmother. She thought she had cancer. She thought she was dying. So she was doing things with her kids, with her daughter, like every day. And like wanted to set memories up so her daughter will never forget about her. So that's what I felt like. I felt like I was, like leaving my kids. So I was doing things with them all the time. Like, I remember it was right before Christmas. I took them to Central Park. We went ice skating, just everything. I was taking them, horseback riding, just, to the movies, just whatever they wanted to do, I did with them. Like, just fun activities. Just spending so much time with them because I didn't want them to forget about me.
Tell us about the day you self-surrendered, because I remember reading all the articles like in real time. I was going through my case and you were self-surrendering, and TMZ and the paparazzi were like talking about it. You went there early. Did you go to that diner too? That was right next to
Yes.
Elmer's Diner, I think.
Yes, I went there. Yeah, I went there early. Yeah, I did go there early because I just wanted to beat the paparazzi because they were in front of my house. They were in front of my house, yeah.
And they followed you all the way to Danbury?
No, I left earlier, so they weren't. That's why I left earlier,
Okay.
so they wouldn't follow me. Yeah, so they would, because I knew they were going to be at my house like Friday in the morning, and they were, Yeah, Joe told me they were there
Do you remember your last meal before you went in?
at the diner. Whatever I was eating at the diner.
Okay.
I think it was maybe an egg sandwich or whatever. Yeah, I didn't even care about that. I didn't care about the food. Yeah, I didn't care about the food. And to tell you the truth, I liked the food in there. The food was not bad in there. It really wasn't. I mean, there was like a lot of things like that I ended up liking, like cabbage, like stir-fried cabbage. Yeah, like things that they had the best banana nut muffins when I first got there, and then they ran out. Then they stopped serving them, and I'm like, oh, they were like so good. Like I'm telling you, the food wasn't bad for me. It really wasn't.
Were you afraid to go into prison based on like stories, movies, anything like that?
You know what? I wasn't. Isn't it crazy? And like growing up, like jail was like a bad thing. Like when we heard that someone went to jail, and it's so crazy. Like you know, they say never judge. I'm gonna tell you, my brother's first fiance's dad went to prison, and they had to postpone their wedding because her dad went to prison. I'm not going to say names. And my parents, we were all in shock, like, oh my God, he went to prison. Like it was a bad thing, like going to prison, you know? And isn't it so crazy that 10 years after that, I think it was like 10 years later, then I went to prison. You see how life works? So never judge. You know, not that my parents were just like, oh my God, like they were like in shock, like that they went, you know, that her dad was going to prison, but not saying in a bad way, just like shocked. And then that happened to me 10 years later.
Do you think that mentality is why you never really spoke on it too much in depth in the years coming out of prison?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Just about your whole situation and circumstances in prison itself?
Like that I didn't talk about it? Yeah. I was like, I don't like saying that I went to prison because I don't want it to define who I am. And now I'm really now look, it's been 10 years. Now I'm like, you know, I'm okay to talk about it because now I got my answer. Like, you know, when you look, you know, now it's been 10 years. Like now I can stand back and look at the whole picture. Like there was a reason why this all had to happen to me. Like in order, yeah, I mean, it was, I guess, part of my journey, like to go through all that. And God had something else in store for me to, you know, meet Louie and to be, you know, to have a different life.
Tell us about day one in prison, what that was like from when you first walked in through the doors.
Okay, they didn't, like, again, never had handcuffs on me or anything. I walked in and I go in with my hair done, makeup on, yeah. I'm like, they're going to get a good picture of me. They're going to get, like, my picture is going to be good. So I walk in, they take my picture, they fingerprint me, and that's it. I'm making this room, like waiting for them to come. And it was like with like bars. And I was just like, okay. And that was it. But then that's not where, I didn't know if that's where I was going to stay. But that was just like, you know, where you do the fingerprint and take your picture. And then they took me to this, like it looked like a basement. And it was a room. And I was in a room with 6 people. Like with two beds, like, you know, bunk beds. And I shared a room with 6 girls. I wrote about it in my book. And like, I'll never forget the first night, like 2 of the girls were having sex in the room. I was just like, oh my God, this is a show. I put the covers over my head and I was just like, oh my God, here we go.
Did the women there know who you were right off the bat?
Yes. Oh yeah, they knew. And and that was another thing. When I got there, like this one girl comes right up to me and gives me like a whole thing of stuff, A lot of girls, they're like, they gave me a lot of stuff. And I was like, thank you. It was really nice. Like they really welcomed me.
Did you feel like the prison treated you a certain way on day one when you got there? Because I was in prison when some celebrities have self-surrendered and the whole prison's like shut down. The warden comes and introduces him or herself. It's a big spectacle.
Yeah, no, everyone was really nice to me. I mean, they used to lock down we weren't allowed to go outside because there was helicopters flying over our campus.
To see you?
Yeah, trying to take my picture. Yeah, and then that's when girls would get pissed at me because they weren't allowed to go outside. And I'm like, it's not my freaking fault. Sorry, it's not my fault. I didn't tell them to freaking come and take a picture. I don't want them taking a picture of me, Yeah, it's like, yeah, so it's like that. I didn't have control over that.
What was your favorite prison meal, like that was made through commissary? I know you were just talking about saying that you would cook for the girls.
Oh, okay. Tuna fish with hot sauce and peanuts. Matter of fact, I miss eating that. Yeah.
We have commissary food upstairs if you want some.
Yeah, like I like tuna fish, regular peanuts, no salt, and hot sauce.
Have you made a prison cookbook?
No, I haven't.
You should do that.
Yeah?
I think it would sell.
Really?
Yeah, you'd be the first celebrity to do that.
I know, but how many recipes can I mean?
Hundreds. We had a prison cooking show where we would compete against each other.
Really?
It was pretty fun. You'd have like a couple minutes to make prison dishes.
I know, but it's not, I don't know. I'd rather do I want to do another cookbook, but, not prison.
What were some of like the rules the ladies were telling you about?
Because you know what? It's not who I am. Like I didn't actually commit a crime. That's the thing. So I don't want to promote that. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, listen, I'm okay with talking about it now, but it's not, I shouldn't have been there. I really shouldn't have. And that's why people, I did take accountability. I did do my time. I did it like a champ. I did it. But it's, it's upsetting to me because I know the truth. And it's like, that's what I don't understand. It's like, I guess, like I said, there was a reason why I had to go, maybe for Joe to get out of my life and for me to, to have a different path, which, I'm happy about. But I didn't enjoy being away from my daughters. Like, to me, my daughters are my life. And this is the thing. I was an adult. I could take care. I'll take anything. But it was my poor kids that had to go through it. And that was the thing. Joe and I were adults. We could take anything, but our kids had to deal with that. And I felt, that's who I felt bad for. At the end of the day, that's who suffered the most was the kids.
Did the women there teach you like some prison rules at all, guidelines you had to follow outside of like what the actual prison rules were? Like where to sit or how to use the bathroom a certain way or anything like that? Did they have certain requirements? I'm trying to think. Probably, yes. Like it's been a while. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's been a while. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There were rules. Yeah, I mean, see where I was, it wasn't like how you were, like Fort Dix. Like I remember, I didn't even ask Joe that many questions because I was so pissed at him. I really was, and I didn't even visit him that much because, yeah, I just couldn't see myself going back there. Yeah, it was. And you have an interesting perspective that you were behind the walls in prison, and then you also visited someone in prison. And I was telling you that the first time I ever saw you, I was in the visiting room when you were visiting Joe.
Right, I know. And what was your take on me?
I just knew you were famous. I knew you had been to Danbury prison because you were like the talk of the town at the time in every news article and everything. Because Danbury is not really known for much, so you were in every article all the time. But I just knew it was a big spectacle that day. There was like more guards. I think your daughters were there.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, even when I left Danbury, I felt like I was like, like I don't know, like a famous, but like I remember at the time I felt like I was like Madonna or like the president or the president's wife, like because they were following me home. followed me home and trying to get a picture of me. So I had to like dunk down in the car, in the SUV, to make sure they don't get any pictures of me. Yeah, because I'm like, if I'm gonna I'm gonna sell my first picture. Nobody's taking a picture of me and selling it and making money off it. I'm gonna sell my first picture. So that's what I did. Yeah, and I sold my first picture because I was like, they're not doing that. Yeah.
That was also the peak of Orange is the New Black, which is based on Danbury.
Right. Oh my God.
So you were caught in that era of it too.
Yes. Yes. That was definitely, and I would say like my thing was I never watched it. You know,
You never watched it?
No.
You gotta watch it.
You know, Melania, my daughter Melania, loved that show.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna watch that.
That's your homework. Yeah,
I'm gonna
it would be
do
cool.
that.
You should do like a whole YouTube reaction video of like you watch. You could make like a series
Yeah.
of you watching it, reacting what's real, what's not.
Or I could even talk about it on my podcast.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I have my podcast too.
That would be a great episode.
Yeah, you know, I never watched it. Yeah, because the thing was, I was angry for a long time, and just accepting it, just because you get judged, and that's the thing. And I felt bad for my kids. Like I always think about my kids, and like you know, like anybody saying anything to them, and just even like being like I was so upset. It's like here, I did so well. You know, it became this. You know, like I guess what would you call me, the breakout star of Real Housewives of New Jersey?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're the most known one, I would say.
Yes, the OG. Yeah, exactly. And here, all my businesses were taking off. I was doing so well. At the time, I had my own alcohol brand, Fabellini. I had my own food line. I had my dessert line coming out. I had a hair product line coming out. I had it out. It was Melania hair care. I had all this stuff. And then all the legal stuff happened. And it's like, boom, everything came crashing down. I was just so upset.
Do you feel like a lot of people in the industry kind of blacklisted you during that time because of what you were going through?
Oh, they do. They have to, because it's like, yeah, you're going to prison, you know? And then it's like, yeah, so all my businesses took a hit. And that was it. They all went, you know, bye-bye. So, and it's like, I was just so upset with Joe. Like I was like, you know.
Now, speaking of what you were saying, that, you know, you didn't really know what was going on behind the scenes and Joe was at fault. Did you notice that in prison there was a lot of other women in similar situations where the man caused them to be in prison?
Yeah, I mean, there was girls in there that got 10 years for being in a car with their boyfriend that had drugs. That I feel so bad for, because I was like, if I thought I had it bad, like looking at them, I didn't have it that bad. You know, like I felt so bad for them. And yeah, that was the worst I heard, like being in a car with their boyfriend getting busted and then them getting 10 years.
What do you think was the biggest misconception about prison, especially going from, you know, never being in prison before, knowing what the public thought of prison, and then being there yourself?
Like being behind bars. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't behind bars. It looked like I was in a dorm room. Like I was like, because I saw when I took my kids to college, I'm like, this is what it looked like for me, but not as clean. Not as clean. Like, I mean, it was just where I was. It was a little older. Because then they built the jail. They made it nice. Because then I remember my roommate, she went to they built a new part. So then they were staying in a brand new building. So I was like, yeah. So it was just where I was. It was just like in the basement. It was like, I remember in the wintertime, it was like cold. Like, you know, just a little colder. Like, you know, it's like you needed more blankets, which was, you know, it was like, you know, like you knew where to get them.
What was your prison job?
My prison job was in the cafeteria. I think like I got the easiest job. Like I think I don't even know what it was.
Like wiping the tables or
yeah,
something?
maybe. I think so. Yes, I think that's what it was. But like I did it very little. And then and I used to like hanging out in the cafeteria, because then I would get the banana nut muffins. Yeah, I really would.
Did any of the women ever try you there or pick a fight with you?
Well, no. This one girl, she would give me dirty looks in the gym, and she was like pretty buff, and I was just like, you don't scare me. Yeah, because I was so angry that I was just like, if anybody messed with me, it would have not been good. Like I had that attitude with me, because I knew I didn't belong there. So I had that, like, don't fuck with me attitude, like that attitude.
What do you think was the hardest thing about prison for you?
Being away from my daughters. Yeah, that was the hardest thing. But like I said, I still, I was like, I'm here. I'm going to make it a purpose. Like, and then I did yoga, worked out, uh, ran the track. I ended up winning. We had a competition with the whole prison. I did a 10-minute plank and I won. Yeah.
Did you make like makeup at all in prison? I know some women do that, and you went from wearing, makeup and nice clothes all the time to going to prison
I
clothes.
didn't make makeup. I used to buy whatever they had in the commissary. Like I would buy everything in the commissary. Like I would spend $300 every week on the commissary.
What was it like to get a visit from your ex-husband there, or your kids if they came at all?
Yeah, and my mom came. My mom and my Joe and my daughters came every single week. It was, we would talk about everything, and then every time they left, Joe would always cry. He would always cry every time he was leaving.
And for the audience to know that doesn't know your story, he was going to serve his time right after you got out.
Yeah, right after me. Like I came home and then he left 3 months later.
Oh, so you guys did get 3 months together.
Yes.
Did you know that would be the last time you would ever have together over here?
No, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
Would you have done anything differently if you knew at the time?
No. I was kind of angry at him. Like I did stand by his side, but it's like he like screwed our whole family up. He did it. Like, who doesn't file taxes? Like, are you kidding me? Like, at least if you file taxes, then they probably wouldn't have came after him, But, like, who doesn't do that? Like, he asked for it.
How much time did you have to serve in prison?
I think 11 and a half months.
And you weren't sentenced to a year and a day, right? Where they gave you extra time off?
I think 15 months or something like that. And then you do 85% of the time or something like that.
Yeah. What was that last day in prison like?
Everybody, like, we had a party. Yeah, everybody had a party. That's what you do when people leave. Like, we get together in the cafeteria. They bring food, dessert, and like that. And everybody wrote me cards, gave me gifts.
Do you still talk to anyone from prison to this day?
Yeah, I do. I had lunch with them. My roommate, she was a politician, and another girl. She lives in Pennsylvania. And then I saw someone else. I saw her. She lives in Tampa. And I had an event in Tampa, and she came to it.
That's nice.
That was the person, when I got there, she gave me a whole basket of stuff. Yeah, like got me like a lot of things.
Do you think prison helped your career after? Because you did get a ton of press when you got out of prison. Do you think you were able to use that to catapult to your second act?
Well, I guess, a lot of people, I guess, maybe felt, I don't, like, what do you think? I think it
helped you tremendously in a positive way.
And I guess people really saw, like, they probably knew that, a lot of people, some people say, oh, she knew. No, I didn't know. I said, like, I'm saying it, like, it's been 10 years now. And I already did it. I did my time. So it's not like, so I guess it did help because people did, a lot of people probably felt bad for me because they knew the truth. Listen, people talk. Right? It ends up being a small world.
Very small.
That if I did work for Joe or I knew his business, everybody would know that. And I didn't. So everyone, because it's like the small is very. Even though the world's so big, it's like everybody knows everybody.
I mean, we're here today through mutual connections. So
yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So,
all through the power of social media.
Right. So at the end of the day, like, I'm just saying, if I was really guilty, people would have known that.
I think there's no such thing as bad press unless it's like a horrible accusation. But I think like the press in our scenarios help build platforms even more. People knew you, but I think it extended it to a broader audience and had eyes on you.
You're right.
And you could have either made a mistake and ruined it, or you rise up from that. And I remember reading those articles. You had books, you did the right thing. You had the books out right away. You ran with it,
Yeah, well, I wrote my memoir while I was in there. And then I ended up writing my second memoir.
And you got a ton of good interviews and stuff when you got out, and like on bigger platforms, and then it just rose, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
Now, when Joe went to prison, how did that make you feel? Separate, having your family apart again?
It's so weird. I think when Joe left, I felt like a weight was lifted off of me. Yeah, I'm being honest. And I redid the whole house. Like our cabinets used to be wood. And I'm like, I just want it bright. I'm like, because he wanted wood. I was like, I got all the cabinets painted. I just was like, I'm living on my own. Like, this is me living on my own. Yeah, and then, well, this is what happened. That's how my mom got sick. So I get out. Joe leaves 3 months later. Then my mom gets sick 5 months after that. Oh, that was like the worst time of my life. Like that, besides going to prison, and I lost my mom 3 months after that. So like that was like, oh, that's when I really hated Joe. Like I really did, because I was like, I'm like, I lost time with my mom. Like those, 11 and a half months, I could have been with my mother. So I was so cool. That's when I knew it was over. When I lost my mom, I knew it was that's when I knew it was over, because I was just so angry. So that's why I hardly went to go see him. Like, I mean, I think I went like maybe, I don't know, maybe once, and then my mom got sick once or twice in 3 months, like after, yeah. And that was it. And then I was just so angry.
The public didn't know, though, that you were going your separate ways. Were you guys trying to stay united?
Well, I fought for him till he left, till I saw him in Italy. Like, it wasn't just how I felt inside. Like, I didn't let the kids know anything. I didn't let, anybody know anything. It's just how I felt inside. Like, when I lost my mom, that's when I knew, like, I don't, like, I'm done with him. But nobody knew it but me.
How was that first conversation with your kids explaining that you were in prison and what prison even was?
Well, I think they started knowing when their father went. And I was very open with them and told them the truth. The only one that didn't know was my youngest, because she was 6 years old when Joe left. So she's the only one that didn't know. Yeah, and I just told them the truth, because I didn't want if anybody was like bullying them at school or anything like that.
Do you know if kids bullied them?
Some people said things to them, yeah. But like that's why my girls are really so strong and amazing, because it's like how I raised them, and I want them to be confident, and I want them to know the truth, and to know, like, I told them, like, mommy didn't do anything, and they know everything, and and if they have any questions, we have no problem telling them.
From an outsider's perspective, it all looks like you guys are your biggest fans. Like, you guys are so supportive with each other.
Oh, we are. I mean, listen, I support Joe too, because he's, at the end of the day, he is the father of my kids. I mean, if I have to tell him off, I tell him off. Like, I mean, look, I take care of my daughters on my own. Yeah, I mean, and Louis is amazing. He like helps also, but Joe doesn't help. Like, he lives in the Bahamas, and he says he can't afford it. I mean, I think he sent me my first $1,000 the other day, and I was like, oh, I almost fell over. I was like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe it. Like, that was like a shock to me. And look, it's been 10 years.
How did it make you feel when you found out that he wasn't going to be able to come home after prison? Not necessarily maybe for your sake, but for your kids' sake.
I was sad for them. Yeah, I was sad for them. But, he made a mistake. He made a big, big mistake, and he should have became an American citizen. And listen, and at the end of the day, I hope something changes in the future, because it was paperwork. Like, and I don't think somebody should get deported over paperwork, over not filing taxes. And I don't know. I mean, and I paid back all the taxes now. Like, I paid back all his taxes. I paid back everything, the restitution, everything. I took care of everything. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's for the kids. Like, that, if they could have their father here. I mean, that's it. It's not like, it's not like he killed anyone, or it's not like, it's paperwork. That's the thing. If he would have did the paperwork to become an American citizen, that would have never happened. It's all paperwork.
So he doesn't automatically become a citizen when you guys got married?
You have to do paperwork.
Oh, he just didn't file it.
We just didn't. And I tried. I tried to do the paperwork. It was just complicated. And I didn't know that we should have hired a lawyer. And if we would have hired a lawyer, then we would have did. His parents were American citizens. Yeah, and like they should have told Joe to do it. You see what I mean? How like it was so stupid not to do it because his parents were American citizens, and the law changed that the father had to. It was right before when the president changed the law that the mom she had to become American citizen before Joe was 18. Joe's mother became American citizen after he turned 18. Ugh. So the father did it before he was 18, but then the law changed that it had to be the mother that has to do it before 18. Wow. Isn't that crazy? She became American citizen, I think, when Joe was like 19.
How long do you think it took you to really find your footing and get back on the same track you had before prison in the entertainment world and your life, everything like that?
Oh, like work-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I guess a couple years. Yeah, a couple years. I mean, listen, they waited for me to come home. So, I mean, I was grateful and thankful that I got my job as soon as I came home. I mean, I started filming as soon as I walked out of that prison. Yeah. So, but, then I had to, build up stuff.
Hopefully it made your value increase, prison, coming back after a hiatus like that.
I mean, it did and it didn't, because like some brands don't want to be associated with that.
Do you think still to this day brands won't touch you because of that?
I mean, I don't know about still to this day. No, I think that's like the whole perception on Housewives. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
I think when I got started in the entertainment world, it took me 2 years to get my first sponsor almost.
See?
Because no one wants to touch it and
Right.
they want to build credibility.
Right.
Now I have sponsors because I've kind of proven myself I'm on the right track. Doing the Mr. Beast video helped it give me credibility, and as my platform grows. And I think it comes to a certain point too where it's like they can't kind of not work with you when your platform's building. I mean, you take someone like you have millions of followers, you have the brand. It's only hurting them not working with you.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think anybody judges anymore.
A lot less now, given everything going on in the world.
Right. Exactly. Which is like now we're in a different time, different world. Yeah, exactly. Because of everything going on.
If there was one thing you could do differently throughout your whole life, what do you think that thing would be?
Nothing. I mean, listen, my life already happened, so you can't. I can't change anything. I mean, what would I do different? Never signed those documents never have let Joe use my credit. Yeah, I would have never made him use my credit.
What do you think is the most important thing you've learned about America's criminal justice system, going through it yourself firsthand?
That's not fair. Yeah, I mean, because I know. I'm like, I didn't intentionally commit a crime. Yes. I committed a crime because my John Hancock was on those papers, but I didn't actually do it. I wasn't intentionally trying to commit a crime. I guess, look, I had to do the time because I did sign those papers, and yeah.
What would you say to people that might think you were privileged throughout your experience in the criminal justice system, maybe with your sentence or just your experience in prison?
I wasn't privileged. I mean, it's just where I was. Like, it wasn't a hardcore jail. I was federal. So federal is paperwork. Federal is like there was lawyers in there, doctors. There were people that got caught, like I said, like in, with drug dealers that got 10 years. I mean, that was crazy. But like my prison wasn't that kind of prison. It wasn't like a state prison. It was just, it was not hardcore at all.
What do you think is your biggest?
I mean, there was a salon in my prison. I got my hair colored.
How much did you pay for that?
I don't remember now. I think I would have wrote it in my book. I don't remember. But yeah, I used to get my hair colored.
Do people still ask you about?
And you could get your hair blown out. Like, you pay people to do it.
Do people still ask you about prison to this day? Like friends or family?
No, not really. No, it's been a a minute. Yeah.
When you got out, what was the biggest question everyone had for you?
What was the biggest question? How was it really? Was it like Orange is the New Black?
See, you gotta watch
Yeah,
it.
that I was just like, well, like there were girls having sex with other girls, and yeah, so I guess that goes on over there, right?
They probably asked if you had a prison girlfriend at all.
Yeah, no, nobody asked that. They already knew that. Yeah, they already knew that wouldn't happen. But yeah, and how was the food? How was the food? I was like, the food was fine. You could take classes there. Like they had like inmates teaching certain classes. So it's like, you go to school while you're in prison, and yeah, and how was it like? And yeah,
Were you curious about Joe's prison sentence at all, or you didn't even care at that point?
I didn't even care at that point. I was just angry at him. Like, yeah, I was just so angry at him. Yeah, there was just I didn't even ask him. I mean, I think he would tell me a little bit, but I was just so disgusted, because he like ruined our family. Like, it's like, I feel like, remember that a long time ago, Scarlet Letter, like that, she walked.
I've heard of Scarlet Letter.
Yeah.
The book.
The
Scarlet
book,
Letter.
and then she walked around because she had a letter on her back. Yeah, like he tainted our family to, like, because he made a mistake. He made a big mistake, and he shouldn't have did that. He should have thought about his family before doing any of that. Like, if he wanted to do that, then he should have never got married and had kids and been on his own.
What do you think is people's biggest misconception about you?
I mean, what do you think about me?
I always felt like reality TV celebrities were just kind of like stuck up or just like on a different planet, or anything like that. But when you're just a normal person,
I really
like
am.
you're kind, like you talk with us.
Of course, I'm very down to earth. Like, I don't know, maybe some people think I'm like this mean person. Because, on my show, I'm always defending myself. And everyone says I don't take accountability. I have no problem taking accountability. Of course, I'll take accountabilibility. But it's the way the show is edited. And
it's got to be dramatized.
Yes, it has to. Yeah, I mean, listen, drama sells. And not that I even want to cause the drama, but they come after me. And then I have to defend myself. And when I defend myself, I'm hardcore. And I guess I then I kind of look like this mean person, which, I'm defending myself. That's what I'm doing,
What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew in your teenage years?
One thing I know now that I wish I knew in my teenage years. One thing I know. That, mistakes are going to happen in life. Things are going to happen. And you know what? When you fall, you just have to, I mean, I already knew you have to get yourself out. But listen, things happen. Shit happens. And no one's perfect. No one's perfect. And you know what? When things happen in life, it just makes you grow, and it makes you stronger, and it makes you become the person that you are. Because, it's okay to make mistakes, but listen, like, make mistakes, like, no, meaning like no one's perfect, but not that you have to be perfect in life, because there's no such thing as being perfect.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, like I tried. This is the thing. I knew I was such a good kid. Like, I really was. I was such a good kid. I listened to my parents. I did everything right, and then look, and sometimes even if you do everything right, I would have never in a million years if you asked me in high school, do you think you're ever going to go to prison? I'll be like, absolutely not. And like, never in, like, if somebody says, all right, I'm going to give you $100 million right now, do you think you're going to go to prison? I'll be like, no, like, keep your money. It's not happening.
But I think that's why your story is so important, because it shows how the criminal justice system is and that it can affect anyone.
Exactly. It could affect anyone. Exactly. Like, never in a million years that in my wildest dreams that I would ever think that I would have gone to prison, especially just of my upbringing and who I was. And and how I was and did everything right. And so I was such a goody two shoes and like I had a curfew, like and like never tried drugs and like then I went to prison. Okay. you can't make this shit up.
Do any
like,
of
at least now I can laugh about it.
Any of the other reality TV stars that go to prison, do any of them ever hit you up for advice or anything?
No, they didn't. No.
You could have been like a celebrity prison consultant for the stars.
Yeah, I mean, not that I even want to be that.
I know, it would have been funny.
I mean, listen, if somebody asked me, like for instance, I just did Special Forces, and I asked 2 of the other housewives that did it because I was like terrified about doing it. I was like, is it really that hard? And they're like, yeah. I was just like, okay.
I couldn't believe you couldn't swim until recently.
Yeah, I didn't know how to swim. I did not know how to swim. Yeah, I didn't know how to swim. And I learned, I took swimming lessons right before I went. And Gia's going to, Gia never put the TikTok out.
Of your swimming lessons?
Yes!
Yeah, you got to put that out.
She never put, I don't think she did because I would have probably saw it. Yeah, she videotaped me taking swimming lessons. She was making fun of me, yeah. But I do feel like more comfortable now being, like if I had to jump in the ocean now, I would do it. Yeah, no, and I'm glad I did Special Forces. It was a good experience.
That's awesome. Well, Teresa, thanks so much for coming on the show today. It was a great conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, I thought you did great.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
for having me.
Of course.